Beijing blasts U.S. over provocative military acts in the South China Sea. Defense Ministry claims United States carried out navigational hegemony by repeatedly sending warships to the region. U.S. aircraft carrier groups conducted drills in the area last week while Chinese Navy held its own exercises near contested Paracel Islands. China's defense ministry has lambasted the U.S. for provocative acts after it sent 2 aircraft carrier groups into the South China Sea while the Chinese military was conducting exercises in the disputed waters. In a statement on Thursday, the ministry claimed the United States had carried out navigational hegemony through repeated deployments of warships to the region, saying Washington was the biggest driver of militarization in the strategic waterway. We hope the U.S. will examine itself and stop its provocative military acts in the South China Sea, stop smearing and blaming the Chinese side for no reason, stop trying to drive a wedge between countries in the region, and stop creating this tense situation, a spokesperson said on the ministry's website. China's military said it had engaged in routine training exercises from July 1 to July 5 near the Paracel Islands, known as the Chisha Islands in Chinese, that are claimed by China, Vietnam and Taiwan. The U.S. Navy announced on July 4 that it had deployed 2 aircraft carrier groups, the USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, to conduct tactical air defense exercises in the South China Sea in support of a free and open Indo-Pacific. Territorial disputes in the South China Sea, over 80% of which Beijing claims as its own, have been a long-standing source of regional tension, including with rival claimants Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei and Taiwan. While Washington does not have claims in the strategic waters, it has been a vocal critic of Beijing's increasingly aggressive assertions of its sovereignty in the South China Sea, and the U.S. has regularly staged freedom of navigation operations there. There are ongoing efforts to resume negotiations between China and the countries in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) for a code of conduct in the South China Sea, a long-delayed effort complicated by saber-rattling and rivalry between Beijing and Washington. The U.S. Department of Defense said in a July 2 statement that the Chinese military exercises around the Paracel Islands had violated China's international commitments to avoid actions that would complicate or escalate disputes in the region. The military exercises are the latest in a long string of Chinese actions to assert unlawful maritime claims and disadvantage its Southeast Asian neighbors in the South China Sea, the statement read. These actions stand in contrast to its pledge to not militarize the South China Sea and the United States' vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. China's defense ministry rebuffed the U.S. statement on Thursday, describing its early July exercises in the area as not targeted at any specific country or objective. The intent was to effectively elevate the Chinese Navy's maritime defensive capabilities, resolutely defend the safety of our country's sovereignty, and to safeguard regional peace and stability, the spokesperson said. The U.S. Department of Defense is disregarding facts, reversing black and white, inciting regional tensions, and seeking its own gain in all this. ASEAN has also taken a stronger line on the South China Sea disputes, issuing a statement at an annual regional summit in June that analysts said signaled a firmer stand against Beijing's vast claims to the region, with an emphasis on the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea as the framework for activities there. Vietnam's foreign ministry said on July 2 it had lodged a diplomatic protest with China over its exercises by the Paracel Islands, and demanded the Chinese side not to repeat similar violations in the future. Spokeswoman Le Tu Hang told reporters that the drills had violated Vietnam's sovereignty and were not conducive to ongoing discussions for a maritime code of conduct.